show people how to create a map of the wind farm in your area using Google. So if you go to saveourhills.ie and you go to the location tab here, and on the location tab you'll see a kind of an inbred Google map here. And if I want to expand that into Google itself, I can just click in here to enlarge the map. So what this kind of gives us is it gives us a nice interactive map showing everything that we've plotted into Google Maps. And the nice thing here is you can share this around by clicking the share here, and you can share it on Facebook, or you can go and share it in an email to somebody, or send it to WhatsApp or whatever to people. But the nice thing here is that you can zoom in here. So this is the Franiestown wind farm here. It kind of shows you, first of all, where the turbines are here. So each one of these here is a turbine and where it's located. And then each one of these blue dots that you see here is a house that is within 2 kilometer radius. So we've actually put in a 2 kilometer radius, which is this red line here, going through everything here. It's a 2 kilometer radius. And each house is kind of numbered. So if I was to zoom in here, you'll see each house and how close it is to the turbine. And one of the things that's kind of very useful, so a lot of people like to see this, you know, when they're looking at this map, the first thing they'll do is they'll try and find their house on whatever road it's on, and they'll measure the distance between here and the nearest turbine to them. I'm going to have to edit to get that. Yeah, I shouldn't have to. Edit mode in there just to. Okay, so if I zoom in here, I can go down here and I can look here at this, let's say this house here, for example. And if I wanted to measure the distance, I can click here and I can click from the house and measure the distance, and it'll give me the approximate distance. So there's approximately 800 meters between that house and this turbine, right? So there is actually a website for the site. You'll very often find they'll produce a map. So here's the map that they produced from EDF, and they showed us exactly where the turbines were going. So there's one of the turbines, there's the other turbine, and then from that we were able to gauge where we were going to position the turbine. So I'll show you how to add those things in at a later point. But this is kind of what you're trying to achieve, is to try and get, because it's very good then when you send this around to people can look at the map and they can see how close they are to any given turbine, or any given 2 or 3 turbines. Like there's some people that are very close to these ones down here now. Another wind farm, this is the White Hills wind farm here for us, and there's another wind farm up here called Seskin that they're proposing to do, and this is another one here they're proposing. And then up here, this wind farm is already in operation up here. And then these lines here that we've put in here, these lines are to indicate where the grid route is going for each one of these wind farms. So for Seskin, they want to bring it down this road. Then they want to join up White Hills to this one here as well. And if you scroll into it here, you will see they have those grid connections all coming down here. This is a solar farm they're planning, and they wanted to bring that solar farm along that grid connection also. And all that grid connection is all going down to a substation in Clara, which is down here. This is a big, if you zoom in here, you'll see there's a big substation here, and they plan, what they're looking to do is they're looking to put a big 30 big battery storage now, we've recently heard, into this field here, to go inside, so that they can store the power from these projects. I'm going to start this map from the beginning just to give you an idea how it operates and how to set it up. One of the things we do is we place things into various different, what we call layers, right? So to give you an idea of a layer, the turbines is one layer. So if I wanted to, what enables me to do is I can untick that, and it will take the turbines out of the picture, or I may want to leave the turbines in the picture. And if I went down here and said, there's the homes, for example, right, I can click on that and it'll take the homes out of the picture. Okay, so it's a very good way of putting in several layers in, so that you may want to show some people some things and some other people not to show sort of other things, and so on. And then I have other homes that are slightly outside the 2 kilometer zone here, but they're very much connected to this solar farm. And then we have another section here, for example, the monuments. I can click there and I can see all the monuments and national monuments. We spoke to local people basically. Like you can. It's actually not that difficult. As I went through it with Tom, I think I went through it with Tom there a couple of weeks ago. He managed to map his whole area, about 300 houses, I think it was, in about. I finished with him about 10 o'clock at night, and he said he was up till 1 o'clock in the morning, and he had got them all in. So if you have somebody local with the knowledge, they know exactly where the houses are. They can just zoom in and you just plot them out. I'm going to show you very quickly now how to start this all from scratch. Visually, from our perspective here, you can see like how they're literally coming like this is one side of the hill, this is the other side of the hill, and they're putting this down in a valley. I mean, it's just, and when people see this and they kind of go and they look at it, they kind of go, geez, this is madness stuff. Why wouldn't they put them up the top of the hill up here maybe or something, So for example now, like my house is located around here. I'm going to be looking down on this wind farm, right? Because there's about a 90-meter drop from my house down to the base of that valley, right? Where most of these turbines, this is around the base of the valley here. A turbine is typically 180 meters. I'm about 90 meters above. So I'll be looking pretty much nose on to where the nasal piece is going to be for most of the turbines. I want to start this from scratch here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google Maps, and if you, in the search box, you can type in my maps, for example. If you just type that, you'll see Google comes up here with a nice thing here, My Maps, Google My Maps. Click onto that, and it'll show you all the maps that you've created. Now, when you go in first, you'll see nothing here, right? And what you'll have to do is create new map, right? I have a load of different maps for different things and stuff, including the landowners and other things. So what we'll do is I'll create a map here. Just go create. And everybody has this facility. It's completely free. So first thing it does, it obviously gives you a kind of map of Ireland. So you just zoom into where you want to go. So if I was going to start from scratch, I'm going to go down. I'm going to try and find my nearest point, which is Kilkenny here. And I know I'm up. Where am I? I'm up here, right? So, and the first thing I'll probably do is, because it's easier to recognize the area and stuff, is to switch what we call the base layer to satellite. So what I do is I click here and I just change that to satellite. Okay. So we'll start by creating a new layer. Right, so I'll do add layer, and I'll double click or click on that, and we'll call it the TURB turbine. Turbines. Save. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the first icon here. Just to click on the marker, add marker, and position where I want it to go. I'll click there. First thing I'm going to do then is just change this to a uniform style, right? Which means that everything in this layer will apply this one single format that I'm about to change here. So what I'm going to do is to make this look like, rather than it having a blue dot for a turbine, I'm just going to change it, go into the more icons here and go to weather ones here. And I'm going to use this icon here. It's a hurricane. We'll click OK to that. And I'm going to make it a red looking color. Perfect. And now what that means is then, as I and I should have actually named that, so I'll go edit there. It could be TURB turbine 2 or turbine 1. Save. And then when I want to position my next turbine, which I know is roughly around about here, right? Well, all I have to do is make sure I'm still on turbines here. In terms of the layer, you'll see the blue symbol here, because if I was up here, we'll have the blue here. If I was down here, so now if I click on add marker again, just click there, and you see it puts in another red, and it'll be point number 2, but I'll just call this your turbine 2, right? And then get my next one, so just close that there, add marker, and let's say my next one's going about, let's say there, for example, and turbine 3, save. Okay, so now when I zoom and I go down and I just position everywhere my turbines are going. So I'll just randomly throw a few in here just to throw a few more in. And Click on 4, and I'll just do one more just to demonstrate. Click here and click here, let's say, and the turbine. So, right, so I've just put in 5 of the turbines, right? Okay, so they're my turbine locations, right? So the next layer I might want to do is start looking at the houses, right? So what I'll do is here, I'll add a new layer, and I'll call this layer, by clicking on that, I'll do all this HOMES, homes, let's say. Okay, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so I can actually see the detail of where the homes are, right? And if you're looking to find out, right, which is roughly where the 2 kilometers is, if you click on the measuring tape here, let's say from this turbine here, and you click and you drag, so you can see up here, there's 1.7, there's a 2 kilometer radius there. So if I click on there, there's about 2 kilometers is about to there, and then you basically got 2 kilometers around all of that, right? So if you ever want to measure any position to see as a house within the 2 kilometers distance, that's how you do it. Okay. What I'll do is here is I know these houses here are all within the 2 kilometer zone here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, so make sure I'm on the homes section here. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click, let's say, there's one house. Okay. So instead of naming it, I'm just going to hit save there, right? And close. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to sequence numbers. Okay. So now what happens is you see it puts a 1 there. So that's the first house I tagged. Next house is going to be this one here, and it's either automatically puts in 2 for me. So I don't even have to think anymore. I just have to go now and click on everywhere there's a house. Right? And you click there, and there's another one, and there's another one, and so on and so forth. So you just keep clicking in where everywhere you see a house. I might be looking at this, and this one here might be outside the 2 kilometer zone, so I may want to measure that one up, for example, just to check is it within my zone. Right, so what I'll do is I'll go down here and I'll just have a little check here, measure that from turbine to that whole section there is still within my 2 kilometers. When you're finished your map, I can give the map a name. So you click up on the untitled map and call it whatever you want to call it, map, right? Or you might name it whatever the project name is, whatever. If you want to share with some other people to contribute to it, make it shareable on your Google Drive so that they can actually make changes and edit the map and all that kind of stuff, right? But that's another day's work. But that gives you the basics of what you need to do, right, to formulate that map.
Please visit our website for more information and help us by signing our petition for wind regulations. Thank you for watching.